The development and maintenance of a standard may be a very tedious and long-term process, especially for the international standards. One of the examples of maintenance of the standard is the structured query language that is widely used for the database management systems. We have different versions of the same standards. The first version was issued in 1986. Then we had a lot of different versions, and one of them is 92 and 2016. And how does it happen that we have so many different versions of the same standards? It happens because a lot of suppliers, a lot of producers of database management system have to work according to the business requirements and have to produce new features for their clients to keep the market. And sometimes they implement these features differently. And a time ago, and when time passes, they come together to standardize the ways the feature implemented, and it takes several time. There are different kind of standards. If we will get back to term a standard as the model or a pattern that is generally accepted, we have formal standards and de facto standards. A formal standard typically expresses it on the paper, but de facto standard may have different forms and different implementations. For example, operating systems that is used on most of the personal computers is Microsoft or Windows, and there is no strict rule that regulates that exactly the Microsoft Windows have to be placed on your personal computer. It's a standard de facto. And another de facto standard is the PDF format that you use when you send a file that you are intended not to modify later for your friend, for example. Another formal or informal standard is a QWERTY keyboard. A QWERTY keyboard is not regulated by any organization. A QWERTY keyboard is a sequence of characters that are placed in a special way, and it was invented much earlier than even a personal computer appeared. A QWERTY keyboard was used on a mechanical machine to type letters on the paper, and one of the stories states that it was invented according to the statistics when the machine writer typed the letter and make the elements not stuck with each other. But there are different another stories that states another things. And another kind of a keyboard is a Dvorak keyboard, invented by one of the scientists, and he tried to prove that his chart set is much better than a QWERTY and more efficient, but there is no definite proof of his states. And that is why in this particular case QWERTY have won the market, and QWERTY is most widely spread keyboard in the world. The interesting thing about QWERTY keyboard is that it gets to us through mechanical typing machine and personal computer, even to our mobile devices. On your mobile phone, when you type a letter to your friend, you still use a QWERTY keyboard, but there is no reason to use exactly the same chart set. That is because you have already accustomed to this keyboard and to this sequence. But there is still a room of improvement, and sometimes we will find a way to communicate with electronic devices without a keyboard. Another wide classification of a standard is whether a standard a horizontal or vertical. A vertical standard applied to areas within one industry, sector, or organization. and horizontal standard, however, may apply to different sectors, organizations, and industries. Let's take, for example, a horizontal standard in electromagnetical phenomenon. This phenomenon can address different issues that can be applied in different industries. And let's take, for an instance, the vertical standard for the alarm system. Within this alarm system, we may have different standards for the light information, for the informing of voice information, for the intercommunication within the alarm system, and network protocols within an alarm system. And all of these standards are classified as a vertical standard.